Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here again, continuing our journey through the MPEP, the Manual of Patent Examining Procedure.
Right. And today's mission, if you will, is pretty specific. We're tackling reissue applications. You know, that fun time when a patent owner has to go back to the USPTO and say, oops, this patent we got, it needs fixing.
Yeah, wasn't quite right, is putting it mildly sometimes.
Exactly. And the MPP's reaction, it's all about strict procedure. We're diving into Chapter 1400, Correction of Patents, and focusing sharply on MPP Section 1413. That's the section on drawings.
Because when you're adjusting a right granted by the government, you really can't afford to be sloppy. Precision is absolutely key. So we're looking at the formal steps, the choreography needed to change patent drawings after the patent's already issued.
Think of it as the official rulebook for correcting your blueprints when the law is watching.
Definitely.
Oh, and before we get into the nitty-gritty, a quick thank you is in order. Mike Shepard, the creative director, really helped pull this audio series together.
Absolutely. Big thanks to Mike. And of course, we have to say this every time. This summary, which we put together using some AI tools, is just for general info. It's educational.
It's definitely not legal advice. Please don't treat it that way.
Right. For the real deal, the authoritative stuff, you need the official MPEP itself, or you need to talk to a registered patent practitioner. Okay. So let's get started. You found a flaw in your patent drawing, maybe a line error, something missing. You're filing that reissue application. Now, instinctively, you might think, I'll just send the one sheet with the bad figure. But MPP Section 1413, it starts wider right. What's the absolute first thing you have to submit regarding drawings?
Okay, yeah. The baseline rule is about clarity right from the start.
Yeah.
You must provide a clean, formal copy of every single drawing sheet from the original printed patent.
Every one. Even the perfect sheets.
Every single one, whether it has a mistake on it or not.
That sounds a bit, well, excessive. Especially now. If I've got, say, 30 sheets of drawings and only sheet 1 needs a tiny fix, why make me submit all 30 again? Can't they just look at the digital file the PTO already has? Seems like busy work.
It might feel like that, but there's a reason rooted in, well, evidence. When you file for reissue, you're essentially starting a new case file, a new wrapper. The USPTO wants the entire set of drawings in that new file to meet the current formal standards.
Okay.
That's why the rule points to 37 CFR 1.84. These copies have to comply with that standard.
Right. 37 CFR 1.84. Remind us, what does that cover? Broadly speaking, not everyone lives and breathes the CFR.
Fair enough. It's basically the rules for how drawings should look. Think margins, ink quality, line thickness, even file formats if you're filing electronically, paper type if you're still doing paper.
Basic drawing hygiene, essentially.
Exactly. It ensures that everything in that new reissue file is consistent, readable, reproducible, regardless of when the original patent was granted. Maybe the standards were different back then. So, if those clean copies you submit meet 1.84, you're good. That's your baseline.
Okay, baseline established. Submit clean copies of everything. Now let's get to the real reason we're here making the changes. I need to correct something, add a new view, or maybe even delete a figure. What's the absolute core rule for submitting those revisions?
This is probably the most critical part of Section 1413 and honestly where people often slip up. You have to use what are called replacement drawing sheets.
Replacement sheets, makes sense.
But here's the strict part, the part you absolutely cannot miss. That replacement sheet must include all the figures from the original sheet it's replacing, not just the one you changed.
Whoa, hang on. Let me make sure I understand that. All figures. So using my earlier example, sheet 5 had figures 10, 11, and 12. Only figure 11 is wrong. I had 6 figure 11. You're saying the replacement sheet 5 must still show figures 10 and 12, even though they're perfect?
Precisely. Figures 10, 11, the corrected one, and 12 all need to be on that new replacement sheet 5.
Why? Why drag the perfect figures back into it?
It comes down to preserving what's called file wrapper integrity. The entire sheet is treated as the single legal record for that page number. By replacing the whole sheet, there's zero ambiguity later about what the official sheet 5 looks like.
I see. So the examiner, or anyone reviewing the file years later, sees replacement sheet 5 and knows instantly this document fully replaces the old sheet 5. There's no confusion like, wait, is the old figure 10 still valid or just the new figure 11?
You got it. It avoids any doubt. You don't just patch up a drawing, you swap out the entire page for a new, clean, authoritative version. It keeps the record crystal clear.
Okay, that makes legal sense. The sheet is the unit, not the figure. But now if I submit this replacement sheet with both changed and unchanged figures, how does the examiner quickly tell what's what? How do they know which figure I actually fixed?
That's where the labeling system comes in. It's crucial. The MPP requires very specific labels right on the drawing itself. Think of it like visual metadata.
Okay, what are the labels?
There are three main ones. First, any figure you actually changed or corrected must be clearly labeled amended. That's the flag for the examiner saying, pay attention here, this is different.
Amended, got it.
Second, if you add a figure that wasn't in the original patent at all, it has to be marked new.
Okay, new for brand new figures.
And third, if you want to get rid of a figure completely, you put brackets around it on the replacement sheet and label it canceled.
Brackets and cancel. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So back to our sheet 5 example. Figures 10, 11, 12. We corrected figure 11. The replacement sheet arrives at the PTO. What does it physically look like in terms of labels?
It will show figure 10, figure 11, and figure 12. Only figure 11 will have the label amended next to it. Figures 10 and 12 won't have any special label.
And the absence of a label on 10 and 12 tells the examiner.
It signals that those figures are just clean reprints of the originals on that sheet. They haven't been substantively changed.
Now, this sounds straightforward, but I can see a potential trap. Oh. How easy is it to blur the line between a simple amended figure correcting an error and accidentally adding new matter, which is a big no-no in reissues, especially with drawings? Does the labeling help prevent that?
The labeling highlights the intent, but yes, you have to be extremely careful. Labeling something amended implies you believe the change is supported by the original written description, even if the drawing was initially flawed.
Right.
If you draw something totally new visually that wasn't described before, you might label it new, thinking you're just clarifying. But the examiner could absolutely reject it as improper new matter. Reissue is for correcting errors in what was already disclosed, not for adding brand new concepts.
So that amended versus new label choice is really important legally, not just procedurally, and distinguishing between an acceptable new figure clarifying something already described versus prohibited new matter. Yeah, that sounds like a legal minefield.
It definitely can be. The label flags the change, but the allowability depends on the substance of the original patent. The MPP is focused on making the record of the change clear with these labels, even if the legal fight over allowability happens separately.
Okay. We know we can't just mark up the original drawings. We have to submit these clean replacement sheets with the proper labels. How do we actually tell the examiner what we changed in, say, that amended figure 11? Where does the explanation go?
Good question. It doesn't go on the drawing itself. No scribbling allowed there. The rule is very clear.
Well,
you must explain all the changes, corrections, additions, cancellations on a separate accompanying sheet.
A completely separate piece of paper.
Yes. A narrative explanation. This is where you detail exactly what was altered. The dashed line in figure 11 was changed to a solid line to accurately depict the widget described in column 4, line 25.
Got it. So the replacement sheet is the clean visual record. The separate sheet is the story behind the changes.
That's the perfect way to put it. Now, there is one more thing. It's optional, but often helpful. Applicants can submit what are called marked up copies.
Marked up copies, what are those?
They're basically copies of the drawings, maybe the old one or the new one, where you literally highlight or use red lines to show the examiner exactly where the changes were made. They aren't the official filing.
Ah, like a courtesy copy to help the examiner see the changes quickly.
Exactly. Sometimes the examiner might even ask for them if the changes are complex. It can save them a lot of time comparing the old and new sheets side by side, but the official record is the clean replacement sheet and the separate explanation.
Makes sense. Okay, let's talk consequences. What happens if you mess up this procedural dance? Say you forget the amended label on figure 11, or your replacement sheet margins are slightly off according to 37 CFR 1.84. What's the real-world impact?
The impact isn't trivial. It means delay, it means more cost, and it could potentially put the whole reissue application at risk. If those replacement sheets or the amendment paperwork don't meet the requirements, the examiner will call you out on it in the next office action.
An office action. That sounds official and not fun. What does that mean practically for the applicant?
It means the clock starts ticking. You have a deadline to respond. And crucially, you're now spending your time, and probably your attorney's time and your money, fixing a procedural problem, not arguing the substance of your patent correction.
Ouch. So that simple missed label or wrong margin forces the examiner to disapprove the submission.
Yes, they have to disapprove that amendment or sheet. The MPEP requires them to state the specific reasons why Drawing sheet 5 fails to label figure 11 as amended, or margins on replacement sheets do not comply with 37 CFR 1.84G. You'll know exactly what you did wrong.
But it pushes everything back, delays the reissue grant, costs more money, extends the uncertainty about your patent rights.
Precisely. Procedural precision isn't just bureaucracy here. It's about efficiency and legal certainty.
Okay, so summing this section up.
Well, MPP Section 1413 is really all about meticulous formatting for reissue drawings. Full sheet replacements, those specific labels amended, new, canceled, and that separate explanation sheet. It's all designed to create a perfect, clear history, an unimpeachable record for the corrected drawing in the file wrapper.
Right, and that intense level of formality, it really highlights how serious correcting an issued patent is. You're modifying a government-granted right, so the record of how you did it needs to be absolutely bulletproof against any future questions or challenges.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up. This whole process hinges on clearly documenting what changed versus what was original using these labels and explanations. But what if the original patent documents themselves are maybe a bit unclear or ambiguous? How does this strict procedural system handle imperfections in the historical record it's trying to correct?
That's a deep question. When procedural clarity meets historical ambiguity, things can get complicated. Definitely something to ponder.
Indeed.
And again, thanks to Mike Shepard for his work on this series.
Yes, thanks, Mike. And everyone listening, please remember, this is just for education. It's not legal advice. Talk to a pro for your specific patent situation. Join us next time for another deep dive into the MPEP.